going on, guys? Carn with Red Top. Tuna fishing's getting better. Weather's getting a little better for us to get out there. I've got a trip coming up. Figured I'd bring in all my gear to show you guys what I'm going to do to get ready and just kind of give you some pointers. Stay tuned. First, got my plugging set up here. This is going to be mainly for topwaters, stick baits, anything that's going to be subsurface or topwater. I got a 14K Saragossa spooled up with 40-pound Yozuri Super Braid, paired up with a Jigging World AMF 400 gram. It's going to be a 2 to 6 ounce rod, perfect for what we're going to be throwing when we're offshore, looking for some football tuna. First, we're going to kind of treat this like a heavy-duty striper setup. We're going to grab our swivel here. This is a Spro 230 power swivel. Nothing special. I use these same ones in the canal. I use the same ones when I'm giant fishing. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to tie a simple polymer knot. Super easy. Make a loop. Tie that overhand knot. And just put the swivel back through the loop. Pull it tight. I'm going to cut that tag. Now when I'm tuna fishing, I do like to leave a little bit of a tag. Not much, maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch. It's just so, you know, everything's going to be under extreme test, so it is always nice to have a little bit of insurance to let that knot slip just a little bit. Now for leader, I'm using 100-pound Seaguar Premier. This will be the green label. I have about 6 feet of it cut out here, and we're going to start getting this on the rod. Going to grab a Jinkai I crimp. This will be perfect for our 100-pound. And we're also going to make sure we have some Fathom chafe gear here. Now, the chafe gear comes in these big, longer strips. We're going to cut it to size. Really only need, again, about 1/4 of an inch. Just enough to make a small loop. You're going to put your crimp on, followed by your chafe tube. And then you're going to put all that through the swivel here. Now what I like to do is forget about the crimp for a minute, focus on the chafe tube. It's a little stiff, so get the swivel lined up right in the middle and just kind of bend that to where you want your loop to be. We're going to find that crimp again, and we're going to take our tag, feed it right back through that crimp. Make sure our swivel stays lined up in place. Get it snug to that chafe tube, grab our crimps, and just crush it right in the middle there. Now again, like I said earlier, little piece of insurance. We're going to take that tag, we're going to cut it a little long, and then we are actually going to take a lighter and we're going to burn it. Now just make sure all your other lines out of the way, because it does suck when you burn the line you didn't want to. What this is going to do is it's going to add a little mushroom tip to the fluoro, allowing it so if that crimp does slip, it can just catch on that little cap there. Little secret tip, not a lot of people do. Take a black Sharpie. I don't love the silver there, so I just take a Sharpie quick and color right over that crimp. And you're good to go. Now, same thing on the other end. Obviously, we're not going to be running TA clips of any kind in this. But like I said, this is my plugging rod, so I'm going to make a pretty, probably, you know, 1/2 inch loop on this one just to give that topwater plenty of action. I'll bend that chafe tube a little bit just to start. And now, the fun part of picking what lure to throw. Now, when you're tuna fishing, it's all about kind of matching the bait. As you can see, I have a bunch of random stuff in here. A lot of these Hoagie charter gliders, they are kind of a rule of thumb when going offshore. I have the gold, the violet, the green. Obviously, green will be your mackerel color. The violet will be a kind of a half beat color, and then the gold and white will be more of a bunker slash all around. Now, my personal favorite is the Siren Antidote. It's an incredible stick bait. Obviously the features and attention to detail on it are incredible. So we're gonna crimp that one on there for now. Close that box up. Then again, we'll grab our chafe tube and a crimp. We're gonna feed that through. Put the chafe tube on. And then again, put that right through the eyelet of the lure. Bend it. Get that fluoro back through the crimp, leaving a good sized tag snug to the chafe tube. And crush it right in the middle. Now, final two little insurance steps. Again, cut, burn, and then again, color in your crimp. Now, obviously there are 1,000 different ways to rig up your spinning rod. I know a lot of people like to put a split ring in this loop here. Makes it a little easier to switch out lures quick. I don't mind going through the leader material. Oftentimes I'm not changing lures that much. I tend to pick what I want to throw and I stick to it for the rest of the day, unless I'm getting drastically outfished, then I will switch something up. But, you know, go over it again. You've got your lure crimped on nice and tight, leading to a nice 6-foot leader, again to a 230 power swivel. And that's about all you're gonna do for your plugging setups. Super easy, super simple. Like I said, kind of just a heavy duty striper setup. Instead of tying some FG knots or, you know, fisherman knots, you're just gonna crimp it on there. Make it a little easier, a little stronger. And let's move on to the jigging setup. Moving right into the jigging setup, I have a very similar jigging and popping setup, again with the Shimano Saragosa 14,000, this time spooled up with 50-pound Yozuri Super Braid in white, matched up with a Jigging World AMF 5'3", 80 to 130. This is gonna be a 6 to 10 ounce rod. Wouldn't be afraid to throw more on it though, considering this rod has the ability to put the boots on just about any fish you're gonna hook out around the Cape. Again, using 100-pound Seaguar Green Label, the Premier. It's just a little thinner than the Blue Label, so a little better when you're dealing with some pelagic fish. Now to start, no swivel this time. I'm gonna tie, you can tie either an Albright, a uni to uni, or a PR knot. Uni to uni is a little bulky to go through the guides of the rod, so I usually stick to the Albright. How we're gonna do this is, we're gonna make a loop with our leader. We're going to run our braid up through that loop, pinch right at the base, kind of pull out a little more, keeping it parallel with the main line. Now you're going to take your tag end and wrap it around our loop. Now make sure while you're tying this knot, you keep in mind what way the line came up through this loop, just because to finish the knot off, you're going to want to go back through the opposite way. No set number of wraps. I kind of just go until it looks good. And now I came up through the loop this way, so I'm going to go down through the loop to finish our knot here. Go down through, grab our main line and tag at the same time. We're going to slowly pull both. And then you're going to switch. You're going to pull just the main line. That is going to pull down the top of the knot. Then you're going to grab your tag end here, pull that to cinch it just a little more. Now I didn't leave myself much of a tag, so I'm going to grab a pair of pliers, if I can find a pair, to just hold my tag and pull that knot tight.
Slipped a little there, but no big deal. Obviously, don't use pliers on your main line. That is just going to hurt you in the long run. Gonna get our cutters, snip our tag here, super tight to the knot. Get that tag out of there. And again, clear our main line from the mono tag here. And you're gonna just clip that as tight as you can get. Now we're gonna burn the end of this. Just be careful, since we cut it so tight, you don't wanna burn that main part of your leader. And we're just gonna hit it quick, just enough. And now you have a seamless connection that will easily go through the guides. Now for the jig, I'm running the Joe Bags Sleek Jig. This is the 8-ounce sand eel color. Great imitation for any of the baits south of the Vineyard and some mackerel that are going to be east of Chatham. I got a little bit of residue on there from some tape, but that is no big deal. Very similar to our plug. I'm going to cut about 1/2 inch of chafe tube. Same crimp, Jinkai eye. And we are going to put our crimp on, followed by chafe tube. Now when you are attaching to your jig, you're going to have 3 options: the main hook hanger, the split ring, or the solid ring. Obviously our hook's on the solid ring, so you don't want that much tension there. Traditionally I go directly to the hook hanger. That will probably cause a difference of opinions between many people, but I'm just showing you guys what I do. Now same thing, gonna run this back through the crimp. On the jig, you leave a decent sized loop just to allow it to have a little extra action. And we're going to crimp that right in the middle. If I could get a hold of it. A little tricky sometimes. Little tip for everybody: lay your lure down when you want to crush your crimp, because if you pick the lure up, the weight of it will slide away and pull your line directly out of that crimp that you're trying to cinch down. Gonna cut it, burn it quick, kind of just tapping to get that mushroom tip. One thing I forgot to mention on this, I'm running about a 10-foot leader. When you're jigging, you have a lot more line out, so a bigger possibility for those tuna to see, you know, that main line bouncing up and down. So run a little bit bigger. Knot goes right through onto the spool, and you are set up with a perfect jig setup for tuna. And you're good to go. Other than that, you know, obviously have some leaders made up already. You definitely do not want to be out on the boat trying to crimp up some leaders. Have it all done ahead of time. Get all your stuff set up, and you are good to go. Now that you're all set up, you are ready to get out there and go start catching some tuna. All the supplies in this video will be linked in the video description below. It is also available in store or at redtopinc.com. Go check it out. Thanks, guys.